with the Navy SEALs who were under the command of Eddie Gallagher. These interviews were part of the U.S. military's investigation into the conduct of then Special Operations Chief Edward Gallagher. It is these normally silent Navy SEALs, and they paint this deeply disturbing picture of their platoon leader, describing him as having a hunger for violence.
I heard more rumors and stuff like that of Eddie targeting civilians.
I saw Eddie take a shot at probably a 12-year-old kid. The guy got crazier and crazier.
You can tell he was perfectly okay with killing anybody.
Gallagher was accused of war crimes, but he was acquitted in July of murdering a 17-year-old Islamic terrorist while deployed to Iraq in 2017. But he was convicted of posing for a photo with that captive's corpse. President Trump then stepped in last month to restore Gallagher's rank, prompting the resignation of Navy Secretary Richard Spencer over the president's handling of this case. Joining us now, we have CNN political correspondent Abby Phillip, CNN political commentator Bakari Sellers. He's a former Democratic South Carolina House member, and CNN political commentator and former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent. This is shocking. We knew some of this, guys. I mean, we knew that Eddie Gallagher was accused of atrocious behavior, but to hear it from his own platoon, these guys who normally have to follow this code of silence, of all being a team, of not speaking out, and to hear them describe him, Abby, as basically toxic, psychopathic. He was disgraceful. One witnessed him shoot a child. I mean, what they're describing is a sadist. They're describing him as a sadist. And so now that we know that he was, not pardoned, but whatever the equivalent of it was by President Trump, he just puts it in a whole new light.
Yeah, and I do think it really highlights how this incident really shook the SEALs. These individuals who came forward and gave these testimonies that are on the video, they're describing something that was so deeply disturbing to them and that bothered them so much about someone violating their code of conduct for the military. And I also think that it really just shows that this isn't just about the incidents really that he was even tried for or acquitted of. It was about a whole pattern of behavior that people who worked with him very closely witnessed or heard about. And it was so disturbing to them that they felt like they needed to come forward, and they communicated with each other about coming forward about some of this stuff. So when President Trump goes then and really undermines this entire process, he's doing that, by flying in the face of all of this mounting evidence. It's not even clear to me that the president even cared what evidence existed about what Gallagher did or didn't do. He didn't seem to really care about the process, and that's what became so disturbing about all of this. From the very beginning, the very first moments of this whole trial proceedings, the president was weighing in on this, which seemed to indicate that he didn't care whether or not all of this evidence was really hashed out, and that whether all of this information from people who worked with Gallagher was listened to.
And this is very damning information if he had known about it, and I think we have to assume, that he did not. But, here's members of his own platoon saying the guy is freaking evil. Other medics saying you could tell he was perfectly okay with killing anybody that was moving. Charlie Dent, my question to you is, there's a tension here with Republicans being strongly inclined to support the military, right, come hell or high water, but also being a party of law and order and honor. And this seems to have strayed from one well into undercutting credibility on the other.
John, no question about that. Look, if you're the president of the United States, you have a lot of power in terms of pardons and commutations. And before one intervenes, he should get the facts, and he should listen to expert testimony. And that's one of the problems with this president. He operates on his gut. By intervening the way he did, I think he actually undermines the military and their processes and procedures, where they made some recommendations here, and the president just simply ignored them. He just simply knew better than those who actually spent a lot of time studying, considering all the facts of this case. And I think this is going to come back to bite the president.
Bakari, we have a few more tidbits from these military interviews, again, with his platoon, trying to sound the alarm of how bad an apple they thought was this person leading them. So listen to this.
The guy was toxic.
We can't let this continue.
The guy got crazier and crazier.
You can tell he was perfectly okay with killing anybody.
There were civilians everywhere.
We have a problem.
He's a psychopath.
He was perfectly okay with killing civilians. As John said, he is a psychopath. And, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think that it does raise some questions about President Trump's judgment.
I mean, we've already had these questions about President Trump's judgment. He's shown us who he was since he first came down the steps announcing his candidacy for president. But for someone like me who's never actually put on the uniform, you're always very cautious about wading into these matters of the military. You're always very cautious about criticizing those individuals who have the courage to go out and serve our country, who fight for the very freedoms we have today. But in this case, you actually have the words, the chilling words from Gallagher's own platoon mates. You have those individuals, and the most damning to me, the most chilling to me is when you actually hear the voice or you read off the pages of the New York Times where they say he was perfectly okay killing anybody that was moving. You know, those type of chilling words in describing someone that President Trump just simply looks at as some campaign ploy, a campaign tactic, because what the president wants to do, not only does he believe that he's above the law and he just eviscerates the rule of law and order, but he now wants to campaign with Gallagher. He wants to travel around the country with him. And so it goes from this realm of unbelievable to perverse extremely quickly. And yes, it goes back to his judgment. And I think that every American today should pick up this paper and read this article. And don't just, me and Congressman Dent sometimes get caught up in the partisan muck that is our reality. But you have these individuals who really, truly put America over party, who are talking in their own terms, own experiences about how awful and how much of a psychopath Gallagher is and a murderer Gallagher is. And I think that those words need to be heeded by every American because the president's number one job is commander-in-chief, and he's failing.
Bakari, that's such an important point that the president's been using Eddie Gallagher in campaign initiatives as well. We want to read a statement that Gallagher gave through his lawyer to the New York Times. He wrote, quote, "My first reaction to seeing the videos was surprise and disgust that they would make up blatant lies about me. But I quickly realized they were scared that the truth would come out of how cowardly they acted on deployment. I felt sorry for them, that they thought it necessary to smear my name, but they never realized what the consequences of their lies would be. As upset as I was, the videos also gave me confidence because I knew their lies would never hold up under real questioning and a jury would see through it. Their lies and NCIS's refusal to ask hard questions or corroborate their stories strengthened my resolve to go to trial and clear my name." We should also say that in this article, they have a group text from 2017 when the members of the platoon were deciding to go forward. And they told themselves,